Thank you. Did you write that, or is that something you did? That was fun. I'm going to give you all the credit. Yeah, it made us happy. So we are. Thank you for the prayer. Can feel that it's pretty powerful. To spend a life, most of my life, doing prayer work for others, and then to sit and receive a prayer takes my breath, obviously. But thank you, Mary. Very, very loving. And what's the shout out, Kurt? Whoop whoop! I'm on my way. Whoop whoop! Yep. So Father's Day, we are honoring the fathers. If you didn't receive one, the men here today, a little crystal. And if you didn't get one of those, Mary, are they in a basket in the back? Or? With the ushers. So hopefully you received that small tribute. And it is, I have to keep looking up the word, shungite. And you might know that what that is, but it is 3 million years old, and it comes from Russia. And the little pieces are so powerful and so potent that they are able to purify water. And I thought, that's what the wisdom of the Father. They take everything that we bring forward to the Holy Father, to the human Father. We come with our broken hearts sometimes and asking for wisdom and courage. And this you are able, in your masculine ways, in your fatherly ways, whether you had a child yourself or you were a surrogate father, and honoring your own father for their wonderful ways and their unskillful ways. We recognize the purification, the power. So that crystal is a symbol that we offer to you to put upon your altar. And I know that they leave a little bit of carbon on your hands, but isn't that what a man has usually after he works on cars, a little bit of man stuff? So I know you won't mind that, a little bit of dirt. So we honor you, fathers, very much. And your song was wonderful. It made me flash back. I was totally a Paul Peterson fan when I was growing up, and I had Paul Peterson signs up all over. It was from the Donna Reed show. Some of you not old enough for that. But I had, when everybody had started getting the posters of Ricky Nelson and stuff. No, I liked him, but Paul Peterson, man. He was my hero. And he wrote this song, My Dad, Now There Is a Man. And I thought, oh, yeah, I'm going to get that 45 for my dad. And so I remember saving my allowance and getting the 45, and then my dad came home from a really long day at work. My timing was terrible. And I put it on the stereo, and I was already like, he walks in, I'm thinking, my dad, all noble and proud in my little skinny legs and little summer outfit, just feeling, I can just feel the whole thing. And he turned that crap off, and I went, but my dad, you gotta hear it, Dad. And I was just remembered crushed because he never listened to it. Oh yeah, poor me, my wound. So there you are singing a song today. So and I'm thinking, I'll get over it. But yeah, we all have memories with this day. Michael, but you brought up the child that lost their parent too soon, and what tribute you read that passage with. So I honor that. And this morning, I was sharing with the Purnells, they're somewhere here, there they are, Jim. His daughter wrote the most beautiful message to her father, and I'm thinking, oh man, wasn't that wonderful to read? Just our hearts just open to that beautiful knowing that we grace one another with respect, and maybe our father didn't meet a mark that for some questionable reason we had a mark, we really didn't know what a dad was. Or we praise and praise all the other fathers that we see. That's what we honor this day with. So I had come across some interesting little parent, mother, father things I wanted to share with you. And also that I'll eventually get to the talk. Your spiritual bank account is the title of the talk, and I will point back to that in a few moments. And a minister that shared some of her insights to the message today, I want to share. I thought her joke was funny, so I thought, I'll be one of those. Got a joke for you. You ready for it? Because this is totally her, but it's funny. The 3 hymns. One Sunday, a pastor told his congregation that the church needed some extra money and asked the people to prayerfully consider giving a little extra in the offering plate. He said that whoever gave the most would be able to pick out 3 hymns. After the offertory plates were passed, the pastor glanced down and noticed that someone placed a $1,000 bill in the offertory. He was so excited that he immediately shared his joy with his congregation and said he'd like to personally thank the person who placed the money in the plate. Well, very quietly, an elderly, saintly lady, all the way from the back, shyly raised her hand, and the pastor asked her to come to the front. Slowly, she made her way to the pastor. He told her how wonderful it was that she gave him so much, and in thanksgiving asked her to pick out 3 hymns. Her eyes brightened, and as she looked over the congregation, pointed to the 3 of the most handsomest men in the building and said, "I'll take him and him." Did you know that was coming? I thought that was just too clever to let go by. Has nothing to do with anything. But rarely do I put together a talk that really has great congruency anyway. So back to these ideas of the mother, though, and the father, and this parenting idea. And so some of the things I share, I invite you to, every now and then, dip into your heart and see, well, what do I think? What is my storehouse of spiritual deep knowing that I anchor into in times of trial and tribulation and in times of great joy? What do I dip into as my resource, as my bank account of absolutely knowing that truth will get me through, that truth will set me free? So some of these that you might relate with. My mom had always wanted to learn to play the piano, so Dad brought her one for her birthday. A few weeks later, I called and asked how she was doing. "Oh, we returned the piano," said Dad. "I persuaded her to switch to a clarinet." I asked why. Now, this is the wisdom of the father. "Because," he explained, "with a clarinet, she can't sing along." It's funny. One year, my dad was in and out of the hospital, and each time, his tireless neighbors stepped in, mowing the lawn, shoveling the driveway, taking him on to the hospital, picking up prescriptions. After Dad recovered, Mom wanted to thank the neighbors by doing something they'd really appreciate, and Dad suggested, in his wisdom, "Tell them we're moving." Both of my parents work and led hectic lives, so my father was bound to forget their wedding anniversary. Remembering at the last minute, he sped to the stationery store and breathlessly asked the clerk, "Where are the anniversary cards?" To his surprise, he heard his mother call out. He heard my mother call out, "Dad, they're over here." Anyway, Dad's satellite dish died. When I walked into the living room, I found him talking on the phone to the tech support, the TV pulled away. Now, how many dads have we had do this? Away from the wall and the mass of tangled wires spilling out in front of him, he looked completely overwhelmed. "Tell you what I'm going to do," Dad said to the technician on the line. "I'm going to hang up now, go to college for a couple of years, then I'll call you back." You know, they never give up. Just a couple more. No one is more cautious than a first-time parent. After our daughter was big enough to ride on the back of my bicycle, I bought a special carrier with the seatbelt and got her a little helmet. The day of the first ride, I put her on the seat, double-checked all the equipment, wheeled the bike to the end of the driveway, carefully looked both ways, and swinging my leg up over the crossbar, kicked her right in the chin. And then finally, I asked my brother-in-law, the father of 4 boys, if you had to do it all over again, would you still have kids? "Yes, just not these 4. I was having fun this week with those. But it comes back, this wisdom of the Father, this wisdom of relying on, I ask you to think for yourself, when you think of a Father, what do you conjure up? What comes up inside of you? When we think of Mother, we think often, for me personally, caretaker, the healer, the caretaker, the one that does a lot of the chores. These are imagery of Mother that I grew up with. And Father was the provider, was the one that really you would go to go fix whatever it was. Please fix this. I remember having a terrible argument with a girl in high school. She was a friend, and she's still a friend to this day. But during this particular time, she wanted to go party and do something, and she wanted me to take her SATs. And she was relentless. She was mean about it. And I was so, you try to find your voice of what is right and wrong to do and try to stand up to your friends without losing them. And I was just at my wit's end crying, and my dad grabbed that phone and told her off. And I thought, man, you go, Dad. And I thought I lost her forever as a friend, but I hadn't. It stopped it. And it's the dad thing. It's the dad thing that we often turn to help us get out of a predicament that we're in. And often mothers do this as well. I'm not slighting the fact that some single mothers have had to take on this role. But it is the Father energy that does this completion. And there's a beautiful saying that God is the Father. God is the Father who is always home. Home, home where? Home here. And we recognize that we are the child of the Holy Mother, the Mother Earth, and the Holy Father, that we are that. And we get lost in the idea that our parents are the mother, the father. And we hang a lot of stuff on them. And when we pull back into our deep spiritual nature, we recognize that they were the angels in our lives that gave us the skills and the practices to grow to be who we are. And that's what we discover today. So we have this knowing that we are born from these seeds of good, these seeds of love. And it's our reassurance that we have the spiritual wisdom, this is Ernest Holmes, to follow through. We have the spiritual wisdom to follow through what is before us. Whatever it is, good, bad, challenging, triggery, whatever it is, we have the spiritual wisdom to follow through. If we invest ourselves continuously to understand love and to love itself, and also through faith in knowing that our convictions are of truth, that they rise up and they are the higher way of doing all that we need to do to be ambassadors of this truth. In God we trust. When we allow this to be the healing affirmation, when we're surprised by chaos, when we're confused by life situations, we, in these past several years, have been chaos out in the world, it appears, where there is terrorism, where there is things that are going against our better idea of what we feel is right and wrong. And we're left in anguish sometimes. Why is this happening? And we focus again and again, and our consciousness is fed by the effects of the experience of another choice. What do we do? What do we do? We get into this place of asking that question. We pull out our spiritual toolkits, and we pray, and we love, and we see through. We see through the muck, and we see through to truth. And then we set our sight on truth alone. And we set our sight on love and let love prevail. And when we do that, we separate from worry. We separate from having to be right and having even to be heard. We sit in peace and we sit in love. Is that a wimpy way? No, it takes great courage and faith and conviction to stand in principle of love and to speak it and to be it time and time again. So I invite you in every challenge that is triggering you throughout these days, these hard times and good times, to remember there is a greater understanding unfolding here. I might not be privileged to know that truth, but I know love prevails. I stand in love. I stand for love. I stand under the guidance of the Holy Father and the Holy Mother, knowing that I am a conduit of that truth, and I choose to permeate all that there is in my world experience with love itself. So this is a power. There's power to that knowing. There's power to honoring what is your faith. When I started out this week, I was so dang bummed by having this big old funky knee, and I thought, what the heck? But I had faith. I had faith that I will go on this journey, that I will be cared for in every way, that the divine has my whole well-being at stake, and every bit of love that I received, I take in. I don't pull back, say, not worth it. No, I say now, and I say to you in your challenges, whatever it is, say yes. I accept, and I receive, and I accept, and I rejoice in how it outpictures itself, because it will. I have faith in that knowing for myself and for you. Ernest Holmes says from the Living Science of Mind, there is a power that honors your faith. There is a love that meets love with love, a law that meets faith with faith, and good with good. We did not create this law, this power, this divine presence. We had no more to do with it than we had with the creation of the north wind or the North Star. It was there before we recognized it. It would be there if we had no existence. But it does not seem to be there until we believe in it. Until we believe in it and until we use it. He goes on to say the divine creator has deposited love at the center of every man's being. Whether he knows it or not, this love, which I now use it, not only for the greatest sentiment of the word, it is the supreme power. It is the perfect law. It is reality. So we're drawing upon this every single day. We develop a level of deep faith in knowing that God and good is there ultimately. We turn away from the disruptive patterns that we've witnessed to mankind and allow our understanding to dwell in God-kind. It's our challenge. It is our work, but we have the seeds planted. We restore our supply by living from love. We invest in love. Through fear and doubt, that will come. We lean in deeper on faith and hope. It's our spiritual practice to draw on this love as we choose to operate from this frame of mind. The affirmative prayer, the spiritual mind treatment that we do here, the spiritual practices that we invite you into, whatever your choice is, they are allowing you to develop a firm conviction and a firm foundation so that when you speak this motivational law, it operates through you as you. We can say that again and again and again, and we invite you to believe in it with your whole heart and faith, knowing that the power of the love and speaking from this vortex of power will change and neutralize anything that opposes it. This is the complete surrender to the divine. All of our fears, all of them. Complete surrender to the divine. Now, what does this take? I'm going to play you a short part of a talk from a reverend at a convention one year, and he's from the Bodhi Center in Colorado. Some of you have heard this story. Try to hear it from a new way. When I first heard it, I was horrified, and I thought, well, what kind of God is that? But now that I hear it in its spiritual wisdom, think about, are you sacrificing to the divine at that level? So go ahead.
Genesis 22, God says to Abraham, take your son, your only son, take your son up the mountain and sacrifice him. Make him a burnt offering, and I'll show you where to do this. So Abraham is obedient to God. So Abraham gets two of his servants, and he gets his son Isaac. He gets them together, and they go up the mountain, and Abraham takes the wood, and he builds a place where the fire's going to happen, and the burnt offering is going to occur according to God's plan. And it is said in the story that on the third day it was time. So Abraham says to his servants, you stay here. And he says, Isaac, come with me. And I'm thinking, Isaac's like, where are we going, Dad? And Dad's like, a hike. So up the mountain they go. And Abraham, who loves his son, important component of the story, he loves his son. He starts binding his son, wrapping him up, puts him on the fire, and pulls out a knife to slay him. So Isaac's like, Dad, are you killing me? To quote David Alexander, WTF? Here he is. And Abraham, who loves his son, is about to slay him. So an angel appears, and the angel says, no, okay, gig's up, it's fine. We understand, we get it, you're willing to surrender. We get that you put God first before all else, so you can have the love of your son. So he unwraps the son, and he lets the son go, and I'm sure the son is like running into the woods, all freaked out, like, not funny, Dad, not funny. Not going on a hike with you again. So Abraham, the angel says, Abraham, you are obedient. You, God first. You get this and that. The stars, nations shall come from you. Every child shall be blessed. Blessings. Abraham is given the kingdom of heaven for putting God first. Now I imagine, this is my fun little mind, I imagine that Isaac became a drug addict and an alcoholic and ended up in a treatment center for post-traumatic stress disorder for what?
Yeah, Isaac's journey. But Abraham's courage. Now, have you heard that before? And did it stir inside of you? What kind of story? What kind of God is that would ask such of a father? But if we get past, as we would need to request all of us, is to look past the effects of some of the storylines and see what is being asked here. Am I really surrendering? Am I really putting down my story here before and allowing God to be first? Am I allowing love, if we exchange the word God for love, am I really putting love here first? Am I really sacrificing all that has been, all of my having to be right, all of my, I know this story, can I put it down? Can I put it down and put love first? That's the ultimate sacrifice. And when you do that, you see, the whole kingdom is yours, because all the walls, you're freed up, and they're no longer bearing your heart. So I invite you just to think about that through these days, and just take what you can from that story. The idea I want to share with you is something from Irma Bombeck, and she said, what does a father do? I received a letter from a single mother who had raised a son who was about to become a dad. Since he had no recollection of his own father, her question to me was, what do I tell them that a father does? When my dad died in my 9th year, I too was raised by my mother, giving rise to the same question, what do fathers do? As far as I could observe, they brought around the car when it rained so everyone else could be dry. They also took the family pictures, which is why they never were in them. They carved turkeys on Thanksgiving, kept the gar gassed up, weren't afraid to go to the basement, mowed the lawn, and tightened the clothesline to keep it from sagging. It wasn't until my husband and I had children that I was able to observe firsthand what a father contributed to a child's life. What did he do to deserve his children's respect? He rarely fed them, did anything about their saggy diapers, wiped their noses or fannies, or played ball or bonded with them under the hoods of their cars. What did he do? Well, he threw them higher than his head until they were weak from laughter. He cast the deciding vote on the puppy debate. He listened more than he talked. He let them make mistakes. He allowed them to fall from their first two-wheeler without having a heart attack. He read a newspaper while they were trying to parallel park for the first time in preparation for the driving test. If I had to tell someone's son what a father really does that is important, it would be that he shows up for the job in good times and bad times. He is a man who is constantly being observed by his children. They learn from him how to handle adversity, anger, disappointment, and success. He won't laugh at their dreams, no matter how impossible they might seem. He will dig you out at 1 a.m. when one of his children runs out of gas. He will make unpopular decisions and stand by them. When he is wrong and makes a mistake, he will admit it. He sets the tone for how the family members treat one another and the members of the opposite sex and people that are different than they are. By example, he will instill a desire to give something back to the community when its needs are greater than theirs. But mostly a good father involves himself in his kids' lives. The more responsibility he has for a child, the harder it is to walk out of his life. A father has the potential to be a powerful force in the life of a child. Grab it. Maybe you'll be getting a greeting card for your efforts, maybe not, but it's steady work. Irma Bombeck, she shared such beautiful stories of wisdom. And so in closing, the idea of God always coming first and the ingredients for this level of faith, hope is there, but it's love, peace, and faith. And there's this beautiful, is my faith sufficient? Is my trust complete? Is my assurance absolute? Father, I thank thee, for thou hearest me. No doubt, no hesitation. So as Judy plays, I invite you to enter a meditation of your own father. You as a father, yes, I raise and praise the fathers that I have witnessed in my lifetime. But go deep into a precious moment of remembering the hand of your father. Not a moment of discipline right now, but just imagine the hand of the Father. And your hand as a small hand reaching into the hand of the Father for guidance, for understanding, for instruction, for love. And then stop the story there. Just be in that moment where you're held hand in hand. Your innocence matching perhaps their insecurity, but it's love, reaching to love. And the only way it knows how to flow is towards one another's heart. Can you feel that? Can you feel that? The moment of innocence, where love reaches to love, and a strength and a power and a courage reveals itself through you in a moment. And you breathe. And you know that there's a time where you have to let that hand go. It disappears. Life takes it away. But instilled deep in the seeds of your being are the moments, whether they were skillfully done or not, of the Father. Who is seeking love and gave you love as only he could. So we take that, and we have lived a life of that. And now we let go of the image of a Father. And we look to the Holy Father, to the one Father, and we surrender to that love. We sacrifice all else, all our stories. We put them down. We put them down, and we lift ourselves up in a new way, to a new light, to a new truth. And we feel, I am set free. All that ever has been is mine now as I dwell in this kingdom of love, power, truth, peace, beauty. All the gifts of the Father, all the wisdom is mine as I partake of that truth and I open to receive. I am a conduit of that now as the greater Father of all fathers pours through me and holds the innocence of my heart when I did not understand and lets me see through it all, love prevails. So I give thanks for the strength, for the courage, for the power that dwells within each and every one of us here. For we have been fathered, we have been mothered, and we are left in the holy arms to carry out the duty of being God-kind in this humanity that calls us forward to love more. So thank you, God. I give thanks for the privilege today to speak in honor of the Father. I give thanks for those who chose to be here to have ears to hear. And I welcome the seeds planted this day into each and every one's heart, that they may grow a greater understanding of what we're here for, love itself. It prevails, it is true, it brings us faith. I release this prayer in a heart of gratitude, knowing it's already so. We stand in the presence of it, and so it is. Thank you for listening.